This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
How do you tell someone you love them?
Isang chick lang naman ang nagpatino sa akin eh.
Ganito ka no? Thank you! Kayang-gaya ko, di ba?
Pangit mo.
Grabe naman to.
Aba!
Naiintindihan mo ba kung bakit ka nandito?
Ako na lang inaasahan ng mga tao dito.
Huwag mong iisipin na madali ang pumasok dito.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Philippines Uncut. I'm your host, Buddy Cunana. Now, in this show, we talk about everything under the sun, and tonight is about the Metro Manila Film Festival 2016. Very exciting event. It's the biggest and longest-running film festival in the Philippines, and it's scheduled to open in a few days. Now, a lot of exciting things happening with the MMFF this year. A lot of changes. And joining us to talk about MMFF is Ida Tiongson. She is the head of the. She is a committee member and one of the people in charge of marketing for MMFF. Ida, welcome to Philippines Uncut. Pleasure to have you here.
Hi, Mr. Buddy, and thank you, Jin En, for inviting us here. It's a pleasure to be actually here, and pleasure to be talking about the new MMFF.
I'm so happy to be talking about this topic because, you know, the MMFF has been running for about 40 plus years, right?
42nd.
47 year this year.
42nd.
42nd year. And, you know, a lot of people would like to know really what is the MMFF all about, and you know, the nuts and bolts and the mechanics and the operations of what goes on in behind the scenes in this very important film festival. Okay, let's talk about your background first, Ida. How did you get in, who are you and how did you get involved with MMFF?
Okay, yeah, that's quite interesting. I'm actually basically an investment banker. And at the same time, I actually teach also in terms of finance sustainability. How I got involved, I'm also a movie producer, which is actually more hobby business, which has grown dramatically since 2006. We're happy to say that we're multi-awarded. In fact, practically every year we're winning in overseas festivals. In 2013, I actually produced Pedro Calungsod. While it didn't do that well in Metro Manila Film Festival, I learned quite a fair bit. And we did extremely well outside MMFF in terms of school bookings. How I got into MMFF, I actually got invited in to go in a higher committee level, but I said I'll just help out in terms of my timing. Also part of my advocacy, helping filmmakers. So that's my role.
Yeah, and I understand this advocacy is very interesting because you're helping them.
Yes, because there are a lot of independent filmmakers that have done fantastic films, and it's unfortunate that the Filipino public, they have not seen it. And here is a good venue, and amazing that these films are now actually, you know, being recognized.
Very good, very good. Okay, let's talk about MMFF. Give us a brief background or history. How did this start?
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm probably not the right person discussing about the background of MMFF, but certainly it's been around for 42 years because we are celebrating that. Well, it's started by Imelda Marcos way back, and it's basically to promote Filipino films. It has evolved, And in the last few years, it practically has become the whole of Philippines joining in terms of Metro Manila Film Fest. In fact, a few years back, there's already a lobby to change the name into a Filipino festival Philippines.
Okay.
That is still pending. So at the moment, it's still called MMFF.
Because it's really, as you said, it's really grown a lot.
It has grown.
Expanded, and even provincial
Yes.
theaters now carry the movies being shown.
Yeah, there was some time that the Filipino public were preferring more foreign films. And MMFF has evolved, and now the public has appreciated more of the Filipino films, and it's a good venue this December time, Christmas time, to show different Filipino films exclusively as far as Metro Manila is concerned.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people know about MMFF. It's a gap between Christmas and New Year, and after New Year, that really you can go to the cinema and it's all Filipino films, no Hollywood, no foreign films at all.
That's right.
Yeah. Tell us a bit about the structure of MMFF, like the organizational structure. Is it run by a certain agency of government, supervised by a certain agency of government?
Right, it is. It is run by MMDA, and as much as other people think that the chair of MMDA controls MMFF, it's actually in a way independent.
Okay.
Independent, while the MMDA and MMFF chair are one and the same, the committee members are different. MMFF is composed of a 16-man it's called execom.
That's big.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I actually forgot the percentage, but half of it are coming from different government agencies like the FDCP, even the PNP, and so on. And then the other part of and then the other part are represented by Actors Guild, producers, and so on. And within MMFF, which is again, there is a check and balance. You have your screening committee before you
Aside
have
from the 16-person
yes,
execom.
part of the execom could be part of that committee in the past, but this time around, no member of the execom is part of the screening committee. In the past, there would be someone that would review the script.
Yes.
And there's of course, the screening. You have the jury.
Yes.
And then you have a lower committee than the execom. I actually missed the name of that committee.
But it must be quite a task, no, to get all these personalities together and to I can see that it would be quite a task to get them all together and to run this organization very well, because you have a lot of different personalities here, as you mentioned, no?
Yes, though it's been being run by MMDA for the past 42 years, so they actually know how to run it.
Yeah.
And in terms of getting the jury members, they do change it ever so often, because that's part of your check and balance.
How do they choose jury members?
Aha.
Yeah.
That I am actually not part of that, so I can only guess.
Sure.
It would be those ones that are known in the industry. This year, specifically, the jury members were picked. Number one is actually more integrity, and the second part of it is, of course, their knowledge in the film industry. Yeah.
Let's talk about the films chosen. How does a filmmaker apply to be part of the MMFF, and who decides which films are going to be in the lineup?
Yeah. Pre-2016, previously it used to be script. So technically, any Tom, Dick, and Harry can actually submit a script, and it will be up to, subject to the criterias before, up to the committee to choose in line with the criterias.
Okay.
This year, there's a major change because it's been converted from script into finished films.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Major change.
Major change, because the reason for that is it's been found out that the scripts were not being followed. So this time around, you picked already finished films, and you can actually base it on the completed work.
Yeah, because as people who are even a little bit aware of how the film movie making is done, I mean, the script, initial script, a lot of changes go on. I mean, they do it. It's a work in progress. No?
Yeah, technically, you would get penalized if you actually do change a big part of the script. But unfortunately, I guess the Congress there was a Congress that had a meeting on this one, and one of the quote-unquote abuses or irregularities they found out is the script's not really being followed. And so how were these scripts picked
Yes,
became
yes.
a question.
How much lead time would a filmmaker have to have? Because let's say the festival is at the end of the year, no?
Yes.
And so, I mean, when would someone have to submit a script?
All right. Well, I'm going to talk about before,
Sure,
pre-2016.
Pre-2016.
Pre-2016, by middle of June, there would be an announcement of the chosen 8 scripts. And from there, these filmmakers will then produce that in line with the script. Now, changes can be made in the script in terms of improvement, or maybe actors can be changed depending on their schedules. Also, these filmmakers, some of them in the past would not be able to even finish the film. They would be replaced by the ranking number 9 or 10.
So
So that's just-
it was a bit unwieldy, no? Because essentially he had about 5 months to churn out a movie, and like any piece of work, like any good piece of work or art masterpiece, or well, you know, it takes time, and you know, it's not something you can really rush.
You'd actually, you'd be surprised. You can have a masterpiece in a couple of weeks.
Really?
So it's up to the filmmaker to do that. And the average time to actually do a film in MMFF in the past is
Yeah.
about a couple of weeks.
Would you say that now, because people are required to have a full film, that maybe they've invested more time in it, and therefore, let's say, you know, I'll use the Q word, the quality of the films has perhaps improved?
The ones that we've seen that got into MMFF this year,
Yeah.
we've seen them that they have really put a lot of quality time
Absolutely.
in making these films.
And you know, as a layperson looking at the MMFF of before, where people just submitted scripts, like you could have a fantastic script, stellar script, but then you can also have a lousy movie coming from the script. It really,
True,
it depends
exactly.
on everything, on
Exactly.
the cast, on the direction, on blah blah, all these things. no?
Yeah, I can actually talk about a whole day, talking about the pros and cons of script and the pros and cons of finished films.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm actually leaning towards finished because you can
Absolutely.
actually see it.
Yeah.
It's already there. You can judge it.
It's not expected outcome. It's the
Yes,
actual. It's the
exactly.
real deal. Okay. As you mentioned, this year is a banner year for change.
It is.
In the Philippines, in America, all over the world.
Isn't
right?
it?
And also in the universe of the MMFF. In fact, your theme this year is called Real
Volution.
Real like movie, and revolution. It's a play on words. No?
Yes.
So
it's
give us
it's
a little
real.
bit.
Yes, it's real volution. Kind of like it's got 3 factors in it. You have the real, which
Yeah.
is a film. You have revolution, and you have evolution. Oh, actually 4th. And oh yeah, well, basically the evolvement in terms of changing. So that's where the theme real volution came from.
And a turnaround, a complete turnaround, maybe, because when you say a revolution is when you spin, like you know,
Okay.
like a turnaround.
No, they say 2 types of meaning of revolution. There's a turnaround, which is actually good. I never
Yeah.
thought of that, but it could also be parallel to a revolt.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely, like
For change,
a
time for
revolt against the
change.
system. Now tell me,
Yes.
who chose this theme? I mean, it seems very timely
Ah.
given the change from the script-based to the output-based
Okay, well-
entries.
Wow. Okay. I hope we can have a lot of time discussing this, but I'll just cut it short.
Sure.
Well, basically, there was the Congress found some irregularities in last year's Honor Thy Father. So it stemmed from there, and the Congress basically dictated, MMDA, MMFF, you have to change your ways in terms of the changing, in terms of the use of the script, in terms of the setup of the jury and that sort of thing. So that was in March, and
There's a big controversy, I remember.
yes, so the new execom got created with some of the old members still in there and new members in. And the first thing that they did is actually do a vision, mission, strategy statement.
Very good,
And
very good.
from there, they needed a banner theme, which is the real volution.
What is the mission vision today of MMFF
Okay,
compared to... No, that's very important because for any organization, that's where
Right.
it emanates from, the
Okay.
mission vision.
Well, in the first place, there wasn't really a formal mission vision in the past. It's basically a Republic Act.
All right.
Okay, so you have 2 weeks, you got to show Filipino films, but the particular one
If you have it there, that'd be great.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
I
could-
need to read this out because it's verbatim.
Yep.
It's a festival now, the 2016. It's a festival that celebrates Filipino artistic excellence, promotes audience development, and champions the sustainability of the Philippine movie industry.
Very good.
So that's the
very
heart
good.
of the
Yeah.
focus
That's
of
the mission.
MMFF. And the point of the revolution, or real evolution, it's what we call cinematic revolution.
Very nice. Yeah, because as a layperson again, who's looked at, observed the MMFF from closely, but from a distance as well. Now, it seemed like before some of those core values that you state in the mission were not perhaps there, which led a certain segment of people to kind of view the MMFF as I'll say it as a nuisance, basically.
Okay, I want to be fair in terms of the history of MMFF, because there's been a point that sustainability has been put into question because the Filipino public is basically looking more of foreign films. Hence, they put a different criteria, I'm not sure when, but the commercial viability criteria has been placed on top of the list in terms of the criteria. So commercial viability would have their major points in terms of the popularity of the actors.
Yep.
Bankability
Of course.
and to get the people going into the cinemas. And it actually worked in the past. And that's why every year the MMFF has been making record income for these films.
But this year, I understand your lineup is quite different. I mean, there's
Yes.
been talk about it being different this year, about how perhaps it won't be as profitable this year as in previous years because of the changes that happened even in the lineup itself.
Okay. I'm going to call this spade a spade because I would not expect a similar, in terms of the financial aspect of it, similar in the past. Simply because the provincial cinemas, for a number of years, they've already been riding on in MMFF, while the law is only for Metro Manila. And with that, and coupled by what is found in the law is basically 10 days, compared to what has been standard in the past few years, which is already 14 days. It's kind of like going back to the law, which is basically required for 10 days. It doesn't mean that they will not be extended. It doesn't mean that the provincial cinemas will not take them. But at this point, they have not given their commitment. In fact, they are not committed to do that.
Let me ask you, why is it, and a lot of people are wondering, why is it that some of the mainstays, or the stalwarts, so to speak, of the MMFF in previous years aren't included in this year's lineup?
Okay. Let's go back to the change in the MMFF. And major part of it is, of course, the criteria given how to enter now to the new MMFF, the Real Evolution, in line with the point of cinematic excellence. MMFF has made, the new MMFF has made 4 different criteria how to actually enter. And 40% of that is the story, audience appeal, overall impact. The other 40% of that is your cinematic attributes and technical excellence.
Wow.
At 10%, which is very new, and this is the one that's really the, in my opinion, probably the heart of what we call the controversy, is the global appeal.
Okay.
The global appeal is something that people are putting into question that, well, why global appeal when we're catering for a Filipino public? At any rate, just down to the criteria, there's again another one, which is Filipino sensibility, which is 10%.
Okay.
And the 3 did not get in. In fairness, not just the 3, there were 26 entries, and you only pick 8. And these are the top 8 in line with the given criteria.
Very good. Ida, we have to pause for a break, but when we come back, we're going to jump in this topic. Now it's getting more spicy, but we're going to be joined by director Avid, who is one of the, whose film, Saving Sally, is one of the official entries to the MMF this year. And I understand it's a fantastic movie.
Yes.
We're going to see some trailers later on in the second segment. Guys, stick around for more of MMFF 2016 when Philippines Uncut returns.
My name is Trisha Echeverria from If I will die and be blessed to live again, I want to still be who I am in this life today. I alone have a voice in this world that people will hear and recognize as me. That is why, if given a chance to live again, I will choose to be nobody. Nobody but me.
Miss Eugene!
From the super duper ultra indie medyo critically acclaimed film of 2011.
Nagustuhan niyo yung script?
I love it. I adore it. Who's playing my husband? Joel Torre. Isn't he a little mature for the role?
Grabe naman to. Comes the hindi naman masyadong awaited sequel.
Pero baka naman gusto niya mag-consider pa ng iba.
Like who?
Like Jericho. Rosales? Imagine me and Jericho?
Eugene Domingo as Romina.
There are 3 levels of hugot known to man. Hugot level 3. Hugot lupasay level. I cannot love you anymore.
Mamamatay ako pag nawala ko.
Ipakikremate kita.
Ang babae sa Septic Tank 2, Forever is Not Enough. Written by Chris Martinez. Directed by Marlon Rivera.
It's just a suggestion, Direct. I'm just an actress.